rapper PNB Rock was shot and killed. Now, with many pointing the finger at his girlfriend, they say if she didn't post on social media.
Photographs preserve memories, and sometimes they reveal stories far more haunting than we expect. For these rappers, their final photos provide chilling insight into their last moments, fleeting glimpses of who they were just before tragedy struck. Let's explore the 15 most haunting last images of iconic rappers. Number 15, Tupac Shakur. We begin with the name synonymous with hip-hop's golden era, Tupac Shakur. On September 7, 1996, photographer Leonard Jefferson found himself in Las Vegas for a Mike Tyson fight. The fight had ended, but as luck would have it, Jefferson spotted Tupac in a sleek BMW sedan. The polished rims caught the light as Jefferson approached, asking if he could snap a quick photo. Tupac, ever charismatic, agreed. Little did either of them know that this photograph would capture Tupac's final moments. Less than 30 minutes later, tragedy struck. Tupac was fatally shot in a drive-by attack. This devastating event was not without precedent. Just 2 years earlier, Shakur narrowly survived a different shooting during a robbery at a Midtown Manhattan recording studio. That incident left him wounded, but determined, as he channeled the experience into his third album, Me Against the World. Tupac Shakur believed that the shooting 2 years prior had been orchestrated by producer Sean Puff Daddy Combs and his rival Christopher Wallace, known to the world as the notorious Big. That incident set in motion a chain of events that ultimately led Tupac to sign with Death Row Records, an LA-based label at the heart of the infamous East Coast versus West Coast rivalry that defined mid-90s hip-hop. Tragically, it was also a contributing factor in his untimely death. On the night of his murder, photographer Leonard Jefferson stepped outside to grab a bite to eat. By chance, he noticed Tupac in his car. Jefferson, who had once been a UCLA film student alongside Tupac, took the opportunity to say hello. They exchanged a few friendly words, but Jefferson had no idea what had just transpired. Earlier that evening, Tupac had attended the Mike Tyson versus Bruce Seldon boxing match at the MGM Grand. After the fight, Shakur and his entourage were involved in a heated altercation in the hotel lobby. The confrontation, caught on security cameras, showed Tupac striking a man later identified as a member of the Southside Crips. The brawl ended only when hotel security intervened. Tupac then returned to his hotel room to change clothes before heading to Club 662 for a charity concert. Looking at that photo, taken just moments before everything spiraled out of control, it's impossible not to feel the weight of what was to come. Tupac sat in the passenger seat of a BMW driven by Death Row Records head, Marion Suge Knight. Less than 20 minutes after the photograph was taken, a white late-model Cadillac approached them on the Las Vegas Strip. The back window of the Cadillac rolled down, revealing a gunman armed with a .40 caliber Glock. Shots erupted. Tupac was struck 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh. A bullet pierced his right lung, causing catastrophic internal damage. Suge Knight sustained head injuries from bullet fragments, but managed to drive a mile down the road to Las Vegas Boulevard, where paramedics rushed to their aid. Despite every effort, Tupac succumbed to his injuries days later, sending shockwaves through the music world. Number 14, King Von. Born on August 9, 1994, Davon Daquan Bennett, better known as King Von, was a rapper who grew up in Chicago's rough streets. From an early age, he was tied to the notorious Black Disciples street gang and the infamous O-Block neighborhood. Alongside names like Chief Keef, Von built his reputation not only as a skilled lyricist, but as someone deeply entangled in street life. King Von's legal troubles started young. He was first jailed at 16 and later arrested at 18 for unlawful possession of a firearm. Rumors swirled around his alleged gang activities, with speculation that he was involved in multiple killings, earning him a reputation as a rap serial killer. However, the truth behind these claims remains unclear. However, one thing was clear: Von had hopes of turning his life around. Inspired by the success of childhood friends like Lil Durk, Von set his sights on a career in music. In 2018, Lil Durk signed him to the OTF record label, and Von's breakout single Crazy Story dropped that same year. With Durk's support, the track exploded in popularity, putting Von in the spotlight. Even as his fame grew, trouble wasn't far behind. Vaughn faced legal issues and spent time incarcerated, but rather than stifling his career, the notoriety propelled him further. He toured alongside Lil Durk, stepping away from the street life to focus on his music. It seemed that Vaughn was finally making the leap from the streets to stardom. Tragically, the streets wouldn't let him go. On November 6, 2020, Vaughn and his crew left the Opium nightclub and headed to the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. Outside, a tense confrontation unfolded between Vaughn and fellow rapper Quando Rondo's crew. What began as a heated argument quickly spiraled into chaos. During the scuffle, Quando Rondo and King Von came to blows. In the heat of the moment, Rondo's associate, Lul Tim, fired several shots, hitting Von and causing life-threatening injuries. Gunfire erupted from both sides, with 2 off-duty police officers stationed nearby returning fire as the scene turned into a deadly crossfire. In the end, 6 men were struck by gunfire, and Vaughn, along with 2 others, lost their lives. Vaughn's meteoric rise in music was cut tragically short, leaving fans to remember him through his powerful lyrics and recordings. Despite his troubled past, King Von's undeniable talent left an indelible mark on the rap world. Everyone deserves the opportunity to turn their life around, and King Von was no exception. Though his journey was cut short, his legacy lives on in his music, carrying his story forward. Number 13, Lil Peep. This haunting image captures American rapper Lil Peep just moments before his tragic death from an overdose on fentanyl-laced Xanax. Adding a chilling twist to this final photograph is the fact that the woman pictured with him supplied the drugs, and the bus visible in the background was where his life ultimately came to an end. Born on November 1, 1996, Gustav Elijah R., known to fans as Lil Peep, was a founding member of the emo rap collective Goth Boy Clique. As a pioneering voice in the emo rap genre, Peep melded elements of rap and rock, becoming a beacon for outcasts and youth subcultures around the globe. In 2013, Peep began releasing tracks on SoundCloud under the name Trap Goose, before eventually adopting the moniker Lil Peep, a nickname his mother had called him since childhood. His 2015 single Star Shopping started gaining traction, and subsequent mixtapes like Lil Peep Part 1 and Live Forever solidified his place as a rising star. But as Lil Peep's fame grew, so did his struggles. He frequently opened up about his battles with depression, anxiety, and drug addiction, and he also revealed that he had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Despite these admissions, Peep never sought traditional treatment for his depression. Those close to him believed it was his choice, even as he spiraled deeper into self-medication. Rather than seeking help, Lil Peep turned to self-medication, smoking weed and experimenting with various drugs that came his way. In his final interview with Zane Lowe, he admitted that his depression had been worsening, saying, "Things just get worse. They already get worse and worse every day." His lyrics and social media posts reflected his struggles with addiction to substances like cocaine, ecstasy, and Xanax. Despite calling himself a productive junkie and advising his audience to avoid drugs, he tragically couldn't follow his own guidance. On November 15, 2017, tragedy struck. Lil Peep was found unresponsive on his tour bus by his manager just before he was scheduled to perform in Tucson, Arizona. The details of that day paint a deeply troubling picture. Hours before his death, Peep shared a series of Instagram posts suggesting heavy drug use. He mentioned consuming psilocybin mushrooms, cannabis concentrate, and 6 Xanax pills. One video showed him repeatedly trying to drop a pill into his mouth before finally swallowing it. Another post carried the haunting caption, "When I die, you'll love me." What shocked fans even more was that emergency services weren't contacted until 5 hours after he overdosed. That delay in care raised serious concerns. Could someone have stepped in sooner? Might his life have been saved if he'd been checked on earlier? His untimely death remains a tragic reminder of the importance of both mental health support and vigilant care. Alongside Xanax, a cocktail of drugs was found in Lil Peep's system. His toxicology report revealed traces of marijuana, cocaine, and the prescription painkiller Tramadol. Following these findings, Lil Peep's mother, Liza Womack, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against his management company, FA Group. She alleged that they not only failed to address his addiction, but actively encouraged his substance use. The lawsuit was ultimately settled in her favor, but the circumstances surrounding Peep's death highlighted the devastating consequences of addiction and exploitation. His passing ended the career of a young artist who was poised to revolutionize the rap world. Number 12, Takeoff. Takeoff was tragically killed on November 1st, 2022, shortly after a private party at 810 Billiards and Bowling in the Green Street Commercial District of Houston, Texas. The rapper was shot multiple times, suffering fatal wounds to his head and torso. Takeoff, whose real name was Kirshnik Kari Ball, was born on June 18, 1994. Raised by his mother in Lawrenceville, Georgia, he began experimenting with beats and rhythms in 7th grade. It wasn't until 2011 that he stepped into the professional music world, teaming up with his uncle Quavo and cousin Offset to form the now legendary rap group Migos. The trio's breakthrough came in 2013 with their viral hit, Versace, which was later remixed by Drake. Building on that momentum, Migos refined their sound through mixtapes and high-profile collaborations, including features with Gucci Mane and Justin Bieber. In 2015, they released their debut studio album, Young Rich Nation, earning critical acclaim and solidifying their place in the rap scene. By the time they received 2 Grammy nominations, Migos had firmly established themselves as one of the most influential groups in modern hip-hop. The group's acclaim peaked with their nominations for Bad and Bougé as Best Rap Performance and their 2017 album Culture as Best Rap Album. In 2018, Migos also received the ASCAP Vanguard Award in recognition of their enormous streaming success, including hits like Motorsport, which featured both Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. However, this meteoric rise began to falter when Takeoff faced accusations of sexual battery and assault in 2020. Though the case did not proceed to court before his death, the allegations marked a turning point in his public narrative. On the fateful night of his murder, roughly 40 people had gathered outside the bowling alley after the party. An argument erupted near the third-floor entrance, escalating rapidly. At least 2 firearms were discharged, and Takeoff was struck by stray bullets. A nearby nurse, hearing the gunfire, rushed to the scene. She found Takeoff lying in a pool of blood and stayed by his side until paramedics arrived. But by then it was too late. Footage from the scene captured a frantic moment as Quavo, wearing an orange shirt, and others tried to move Takeoff before laying him back down. Desperate cries for help filled the air. Adding to the eerie atmosphere of that night, Takeoff had shared a cryptic Instagram story shortly beforehand, featuring a photo of himself and the song Stop Breathing by Playboi Carti. This post, along with the chaotic circumstances of his death, fueled a swirl of conspiracy theories and lingering questions about what truly happened that night. Number 11, Nipsey Hussle. On March 31, 2019, at approximately 3:18 p.m., Nipsey Hussle was gunned down outside his Marathon clothing store in South Central Los Angeles. The shooter, an old acquaintance named Eric Holder, fired at least 10 rounds, fatally wounding Nipsey and shocking the community. Born on August 15, 1985, Ermias Joseph Asghedom, known to fans as Nipsey Hussle, grew up in the Crenshaw neighborhood of South Central LA. Raised by his single mother, Angelique Smith, Nipsey faced challenges early on. By the age of 14, he had joined the local Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips gang. It was during this time that he crossed paths with Eric Holder, a friendship that would tragically lead to his untimely death. Both Nipsey Hussle and Eric Holder shared early dreams of making it big as rappers while growing up in the same gang-affiliated environment. At 17, Nipsey took a pivotal step forward by joining Buttervision, a multimedia and music initiative spearheaded by Dexter Brown. This shift marked his evolution from a local street rapper to a rising global artist. Over time, Nipsey used his growing influence to uplift his community, supporting charities, mentoring youth, and encouraging a new generation to break free from cycles of violence. Meanwhile, Eric Holder, who performed under the stage name Fly Mac, struggled to gain traction. His music never extended beyond his neighborhood, leaving him increasingly overshadowed by Nipsey's success. On the day of Nipsey's death, Eric Holder met with a woman he had recently begun seeing. She offered to drive him in her white Chevy Cruze to get food in South Los Angeles. Unbeknownst to her, Nipsey Hussle was at his Marathon clothing store just blocks away, mingling with fans and signing autographs. Nipsey had recently purchased the entire shopping center where he had once sold mixtapes out of his car. He planned to transform the property into a dynamic hub of residences and businesses, an ambitious effort to uplift the very community that had raised him. For about 30 minutes, Nipsey chatted with fans and friends in the bright California sun. When Holder and his companion arrived to grab food nearby, the woman noticed Nipsey and eagerly ran to greet him. She had no idea that Nipsey and Holder shared a history. As the two men recognized each other, Nipsey motioned for Holder to step aside for a private conversation. In that moment, Nipsey warned Holder about whispers circulating through the neighborhood, rumors that Holder had been labeled a snitch. Outraged by Nipsey's words, Holder drew a gun and fired multiple times, killing Nipsey on the spot. The final photo taken of Nipsey, captured just minutes before his death, shows him posing with a young fan, a stark reminder of his deep connection to the community. Sadly, his philanthropy and vision for a brighter future for South LA were cut short. Number 10, the Notorious Big. This haunting image of the Notorious Big and Sean Puff Daddy Combs was taken after a party just 20 minutes before Biggie was gunned down in a drive-by shooting. Christopher George Wallace, born on May 21, 1972, and better known as the Notorious Big or Biggie Smalls, was a pioneering force in East Coast gangsta rap. His debut album, Ready to Die, released in 1994, not only sold millions of copies, but also fueled the highly publicized feud between East Coast and West Coast hip-hop, especially against Tupac Shakur. Biggie's gritty lyrics, which vividly depicted violent street life, weren't entirely fictional. He grew up in a tough Brooklyn neighborhood and frequently found himself on the wrong side of the law. Even after achieving musical fame, his legal troubles continued. In the summer of 1996, police discovered firearms and marijuana at his New Jersey residence. He also reportedly used a baseball bat to assault 2 fans. Biggie's reputation as a true gangsta rapper wasn't just a persona, it was rooted in his real-life experiences. Ultimately, his murder was the bloody climax of the East Coast versus West Coast rap rivalry, a feud that left 2 of hip-hop's most legendary figures dead and countless fans mourning the loss of unparalleled talent. On March 8, 1997, after attending a Soul Train Awards after-party at the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles, Biggie's night took a tragic turn. The fire department shut down the party due to overcrowding, and Biggie and his entourage left in 2 GMC Suburbans to head back to their hotel. As they stopped at a traffic light, a black Chevy Impala pulled up beside them. Inside the Impala was an unidentified man dressed in a blue suit and bow tie. Without warning, he rolled down his window, drew a blue steel 9mm pistol, and opened fire on Biggie's vehicle. 4 bullets struck Biggie. His entourage rushed him to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where doctors performed emergency surgery. But he was pronounced dead. The identity of Biggie's killer remains a mystery to this day. There are theories, of course. Some suspect Marion Suge Knight, the former head of Death Row Records, of orchestrating a revenge plot against Biggie, whom he allegedly blamed for Tupac Shakur's murder. Another possibility is that a random Crips gang member carried out the attack, but regardless of the speculation, the murder of the Notorious Big has never been solved. Suge Knight himself is currently behind bars for a 2018 fatal hit-and-run incident. Number 9, Mac Miller. On September 7, 2018, Mac Miller was found unresponsive in his Studio City home by his personal assistant. The assistant called 911 and attempted CPR until paramedics arrived. Sadly, by the time they reached him, Mac was already gone. Born Malcolm James McCormick, Mac Miller was one of hip-hop's brightest rising stars. He started his career at just 15 years old, breaking into Pittsburgh's hip-hop scene in 2007. 3 years later, he signed with independent label Rostrum Records, gaining widespread attention with his breakthrough mixtapes and rapidly building a devoted fan base. Miller gained widespread recognition with his popular mixtapes, including Best Day Ever, but his career truly reached a milestone with his debut studio album, Blue Slide Park. Released in 2011, it became the first independently distributed debut album to top the US Billboard 200 since 1995. Yet as his star rose, his personal struggles began to surface. Mac Miller often spoke openly about his battles with substance abuse and depression. During his Macadelic tour in 2012, he started using promethazine, eventually developing an addiction to lean. His substance issues led to legal troubles. In New York, he was arrested for marijuana possession. Later, in a more serious incident, he was charged with DUI and hit and run after crashing into a utility pole and fleeing the scene. The police tracked him down through his license plate, and when confronted at his home, Miller admitted his involvement. He was arrested, released on $15,000 bail, and in August 2018, charged with 2 counts of DUI. Sadly, Miller passed away before the case ever went to court, and the charges were dropped posthumously. Just one day before his death, Vulture magazine published what would become Mac Miller's last known photograph. On the day he passed, he had been scheduled to film a music video and was preparing for his swimming tour the following month. Tragically, his plans were cut short. A subsequent investigation revealed that Miller had been supplied counterfeit oxycodone pills laced with fentanyl. 3 men were arrested for their involvement. According to authorities, Cameron James Pettit sold Miller the tainted pills, which he had obtained from Ryan Rivas, who in turn got them from a supplier named Stephen Walter. This chain of events led to an accidental overdose that was confirmed by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office on November 5, 2018. The coroner cited a fatal combination of fentanyl, cocaine, and alcohol as the cause of death. Miller's passing sent shockwaves through the music industry and his fan base. Thousands gathered at Pittsburgh's Blue Slide Park, a location that had inspired the title of his debut album, to hold a vigil in his honor. This outpouring of love was a testament to the impact he had made in his short but unforgettable career. Juice WRLD, born Jared Anthony Higgins on December 2, 1998, was a Chicago rapper who rose to stardom with his 2018 hit Lucid Dreams. The song reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of the year's most streamed tracks. Beyond that, Juice WRLD was making waves in the industry, collaborating with artists like Travis Scott on Astroworld, contributing to the Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack, and even working with BTS members RM and Suga. By any measure, he wasn't just rising, he was dominating. However, as with many in the music industry, Juice WRLD also struggled with personal demons. He was open about his battles with depression, anxiety, and substance abuse from a young age. His mother later revealed that he had been planning to enter rehab, but tragically, he never had the chance. The photo taken of him with his crew aboard the private jet shows a vibrant, healthy-looking young man. Yet by the time the plane landed at Chicago Midway International Airport, Juice WRLD's life had come to a sudden, shocking end. Reports later revealed that federal agents had been tipped off about potential contraband on the plane and were waiting on the ground. When authorities boarded the aircraft, they discovered a massive haul of drugs, 70 pounds of marijuana, among the luggage. As police began their search, Juice WRLD reportedly swallowed multiple Percocet pills in an apparent attempt to conceal them. This panicked decision would prove catastrophic. Shortly thereafter, Juice WRLD began convulsing, suffering a seizure. Emergency responders administered 2 doses of naloxone, an opioid reversal medication, in a desperate bid to save him. A 911 call alerted Chicago authorities that Jared Higgins, better known as Juice WRLD, was suffering a medical emergency. He was rushed to Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn, where doctors worked tirelessly to save him. Despite their efforts, Juice WRLD was pronounced dead. The tragedy shocked the music world, but the story didn't end there. On January 22, 2020, the Cook County Medical Examiner revealed that Juice WRLD's death was caused by toxic levels of oxycodone and codeine in his system. Many began to speculate about how law enforcement became involved in the first place, with rumors swirling that someone on the flight tipped off federal agents. The true identity of the informer remains unknown, fueling questions that linger to this day. Number 7. Pop Smoke. This photograph of Pop Smoke, taken just hours before his death, would become a chilling reminder of how quickly life can change. Unlike Juice WRLD, Pop Smoke's death wasn't due to a medical issue or a personal struggle. Instead, it was the result of a senseless act of violence. At around 2 a.m. on February 19, 2020, a black BMW drove past a house in the Hollywood Hills that Pop Smoke was renting. Security cameras captured the vehicle circling back before a passenger exited, sneaked to the rear of the house, and then quickly returned. The car sped away, but 2 hours later, an Infiniti sedan arrived with its headlights off. 4 hooded suspects, one carrying a weapon, broke into the house. At that moment, Pop Smoke had just returned home from recording at a studio on Sunset Boulevard. What followed was a brutal robbery that ultimately cost the rapper his life. Reports suggest that Pop Smoke, whose real name was Bashar Baraka Jackson, was in the shower when the intruders entered. When he heard noises, he came out to confront them, attempting to fight them off. Tragically, the struggle ended with his death. Security footage showed 3 of the intruders fleeing back through the camera's view roughly 10 minutes later. The 4th suspect was seen calmly exiting through the front door, clutching a purse and a gun. Pop Smoke's murder, carried out by a group of teenagers, was shockingly brazen and utterly senseless. It began as an attempted robbery, but ultimately deprived the music world of one of its most promising young talents. The Los Angeles Police Department first received word of the invasion from a call made on the East Coast. Officers arrived on the scene within minutes and discovered Jackson with multiple gunshot wounds, lying in a pool of blood. He was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where doctors performed emergency surgery in a desperate attempt to save him. Despite their efforts, he was pronounced dead hours later, at just 20 years old. What makes his death even more tragic is the role his last social media posts played in the incident. Authorities initially suspected a gang-related motive, given Jackson's past connections to the Crips. However, further investigation pointed to a robbery gone horribly wrong. Earlier that day, Pop Smoke and his friend Mike D had posted images that, unknowingly, revealed their location. One photo showed large sums of cash and designer items. Another included a tag with the home's address clearly visible. This unintentional disclosure made their rented Hollywood Hills residence an easy target. Following a months-long investigation, on July 9, 2023, authorities arrested several suspects, including adult men and 2 minors. One of the adults was charged with murder, along with a special circumstance alleging the killing occurred during a robbery and burglary. Another adult faced attempted murder charges. But no matter the punishment, nothing will bring Pop Smoke back. The rap world is left mourning a bright star whose potential was stolen far too soon. Number 6, XXXTentacion. On June 18, 2018, American rapper Jose Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, known professionally as XXXTentacion, visited a Bank of America branch before heading to Riva Motorsports, a high-end motorcycle and boat dealer in Deerfield Beach, Florida. That day, the final photos of him alive were captured. Born January 23, 1998, Onfroy had a controversial upbringing and a troubled past. He faced numerous legal issues, including time in juvenile detention, but upon his release, he turned to music as a creative outlet. His first track, Newsflock, appeared on SoundCloud in 2013. Over the next 5 years, he amassed more than 2 million followers on the platform, climbing rapidly to stardom. However, XXXTentacion's rise was overshadowed by his volatile behavior and criminal controversies. He publicly admitted to domestic abuse against his pregnant ex-girlfriend, Geneva Ayala, as well as to stabbing 9 people. His shocking antics, such as featuring a simulated lynching of a white man in a music video, often overshadowed his talent. Still, his music struck a chord with listeners, tackling heavy topics like depression, loneliness, and suicide. Fans saw the potential for his artistry to evolve into something truly groundbreaking. Tragically, he would never have the chance to fully realize that potential. On the day of his murder, XXXTentacion left the dealership with his uncle Leonard Kerr, unaware that a dark-colored Dodge Journey SUV had been tailing him. Inside that vehicle were 3 men who had planned to rob him. After he spent about half an hour inside Riva Motorsports, Onfroy returned to his BMW i8 and started to leave the lot. The Dodge SUV then pulled in front of his car, blocking his path. 2 men, Michael Boatwright and Trayvon Newsome, jumped out of the SUV, armed with guns. They demanded his belongings, including his jewelry. When Onfroy resisted, a brief scuffle broke out. Newsome and Boatwright punched him repeatedly, with Newsome fixating on stealing his chain. The situation escalated violently, leading to the unthinkable. As the chaos unfolded, Leonard Kerr, Onfroy's step-uncle, fled the car, leaving the door open. This allowed Newsome to grab a Louis Vuitton bag containing $50,000 from the passenger side. Despite the robbery being complete, Michael Boatwright walked back to the car. He locked eyes with Onfroy, raised his rifle, and mercilessly fired multiple shots, killing the young rapper on the spot. The news of XXXTentacion's death shook fans and authorities alike. The Broward County Sheriff's Office quickly offered a $3,000 reward for any information leading to the suspect's arrests. Speculation initially fell on local Florida rappers Soldier Kid and Soldier JoJo due to certain Instagram posts that seemed to align with witness accounts. However, these allegations were later disproven when two of the actual culprits, Dedrick Williams and Michael Boatwright, were arrested and confessed. All three assailants were charged with first-degree murder and robbery with a firearm. The severity of their crime resulted in life sentences without the possibility of parole, punishments that many feel still fall short of justice. Number 5. Young Dolph. On November 17, 2021, young Dolph was fatally shot while visiting Makeda's homemade butter cookies, a bakery he often frequented when back in his hometown of Memphis. His death not only marked the tragic end of his career, but also sent shockwaves throughout the music industry. Born Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. on July 27, 1985, young Dolph carved out a prominent place in hip-hop at a young age. He first gained mainstream attention in 2015 with his guest feature on OT Genesis's hit single, Cut It, which climbed to number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100. The following year, he released his debut studio album, King of Memphis, which peaked at number 49 on the Billboard 200. From there, he continued to release album after album, each achieving impressive sales. He signed to his own label, Paper Route Empire, and his 2020 album became one of his most successful projects. Young Dolph's Rich Slave debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, making it his highest charting release. It was a testament to his relentless work ethic and undeniable talent. While many celebrated his success, others seemed to harbor resentment. In September 2017, Dolph survived a shooting outside a Hollywood retail store, leaving him hospitalized in critical condition. He spent 2 weeks recovering from 3 gunshot wounds. Investigators believe this was a retaliation for his earlier album, Bulletproof, released that April. It seemed some took his artistic statements far too literally. Years later, tragedy struck again. On the day of his murder, a fan snapped what would become the last known photo of young Dolph as he entered the bakery. Moments later, 2 gunmen in a white Mercedes-Benz opened fire, killing him. In the aftermath, hundreds gathered at the scene, mourning the loss of a man who had done so much for his community. Dolph was renowned for his charitable efforts. Every Thanksgiving, he distributed turkeys to those in need. He also gave back in unexpected ways, like the time he donated $20,000 to 2 Duke University baristas who lost their jobs for playing his hit song Get Paid. Young Dolph was widely loved for his generosity and commitment to helping others. His murder remains senseless, and his absence is deeply felt. Number 4. Freddie E. On January 5, 2013, hip-hop artist and internet personality Freddie E. tragically ended his own life. Even more haunting, he live-tweeted the moments leading up to his suicide and left behind a selfie that would become his final image. Born Frederick Ebolt, Freddie E. was best known for his popular YouTube channel, Jerk TV. A graduate of Nathan Hale High School and the Art Institute of Seattle, where he studied digital filmmaking and video production, Freddie had a natural talent for entertaining. His show featured satirical skits, social commentary, and cautionary messages, resonating deeply with his audience. His creative and comedic approach earned him a loyal following, but behind the scenes, Freddie was struggling. On that fateful day, Freddie E. posted a series of increasingly concerning tweets, chronicling his heartache and despair. Beginning around 12:52 p.m., his messages revealed the depths of his sadness following a breakup. The tweets continued for nearly 2 hours, describing his emotions and actions in startling detail. Freddie had been close to fellow rapper Honey Cocaine for a few months, but after their split, his emotional state spiraled downward. Just a month before his death, he posted a deeply emotional message on Facebook. "I talk to Honey damn near every day. I text her, she calls me, we talk on the phone for hours. I've met some of her family and she's met some of mine. We call each other by our birth names. I'd take a bullet for her as would she take one for me. I actually know her. Where you see a rapper, I see a writer. Y'all can't tell me nothing about her." This heartfelt post revealed the depth of his feelings for her, making the breakup even more devastating. On the day of his death, Freddie's tweets turned darker. "Smoked my first pack of cigs today. In a long time since I've gone through heartbreak. It's a cold, unforgiving world. If I do say, God, please forgive me, I'm sorry." At the time, many of his fans dismissed the posts as a dramatic stunt on social media. Tragically, when his family later confirmed his passing, it shocked and devastated his followers. The attention quickly shifted to Honey Cocaine, with fans blaming her for Freddie's death. She received a wave of criticism and even direct accusations that their breakup had driven him over the edge. In response, Honey Cocaine defended herself, making it clear that she didn't believe she was at fault and expressing her own sorrow over the loss. Honey Cocaine responded to the backlash with a heartfelt message. "To say I caused what happened is ignorance. You know nothing about our friendship or the story. Hate me if you feel. We loved each other. We were homies. We had a bond and a connection. For people to attack me, acting like I made him do it, is a shame. Say it's my fault, threaten me, whatever. I knew him well enough to know he had other things happening. I was there for him all the time." While the full story behind Freddie E's tragic final moments may never be known, his last photo and tweets remain a poignant reminder of his struggles, serving as lasting memories for his loyal fans and symbolizing his legacy. Number 3. Lexi Alijai. On December 29, 2019, female rapper Lexi Alijai posted a photo to her Instagram, her youthful smile radiating optimism. Just 3 days later, she was found dead in her hotel room. Born on February 19, 1998, Lexi Alijai, real name Alexis Alijai Lynch, grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota. Music was in her blood. Her grandfather, the legendary Roger Troutman, was the founder of the Ohio funk band Zapp. Inspired by her family's musical heritage, Lexi dropped out of high school to dedicate herself fully to her passion for rap. She began by rapping over popular tracks from artists like Dej Loaf, Tupac, and Drake. Her skillful lyrics and unique flow quickly caught attention, and she released her first mixtape not long after. But her big break came through a collaboration with R&B star Kehlani on the song Jealous, just before Kehlani's commercial mixtape You Should Be Here skyrocketed to number 36 on the Billboard 200. The track showcased Lexi's exceptional lyricism and flow, earning her a spotlight that many believed was long overdue. Unfortunately, Lexi Alijai never had the chance to fully enjoy the success she had worked so hard to achieve. On January 1st, 2020, just as a new year began, she was discovered lifeless in her hotel room. The promising young rapper was gone far too soon, leaving fans and peers mourning the loss of a rising star with immense potential. Lexi Alijai's death was officially ruled as an overdose of fentanyl and alcohol by the Hennepin County Medical Examiner. This conclusion left fans with a flurry of questions. How could this happen? Why did it occur? What truly led to this tragic end? Many supporters remain haunted by the circumstances, while others speculate that her passing may involve more than meets the eye. Number 2. Simone Battle. Though not a rapper, Simone Battle was a multi-talented entertainer whose sudden death shocked fans. The day before her tragic passing, she was seen posing in a vibrant photo shoot, seemingly full of life and confidence. No one could have predicted what would happen within the next 24 hours. Born on June 17, 1989, in Los Angeles, California, Simone began her career in acting. She landed roles on popular TV shows such as Zoey 101 and Everybody Hates Chris. But her ambition extended far beyond acting. In 2011, she auditioned for The X Factor, wowing the judges with her performance of When I Grow Up by the Pussycat Dolls. With 3 yes votes, she advanced to boot camp, where she was mentored by the show's creator, Simon Cowell. Despite making it to the top 17 contestants, Simone's journey on The X Factor was cut short when Simon himself eliminated her from the girls' category. Undeterred, she set her sights on a career in music. In August 2012, Simone became part of a new Pussycat Dolls lineup after the original group's disbandment in 2010. She was eager to make her mark in the industry, but her aspirations were tragically cut short. Simone's addition to the revamped Pussycat Dolls lineup was announced with much fanfare at the Dollhouse opening in San Diego. Tragically, just 2 years later, on September 5, 2014, she was found hanging in her bedroom closet. Close sources and subsequent investigations suggested she had been battling depression, possibly related to financial struggles. However, others have put forth darker theories, claiming that foul play might have been involved. The photo taken less than a day before her death stands as a haunting final glimpse into her life. Number 1. PNB Rock. On September 12, 2022, Philadelphia rapper PNB Rock, born Rakeem Allen, was fatally shot during a robbery at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles in Los Angeles. The shocking incident sparked heated discussions among fans on social media about who was truly to blame. Police initially pointed to a now-deleted social media post by his girlfriend, Stephanie Sibunhuang, which revealed their location and may have led the assailant directly to them. According to authorities, the attacker entered the restaurant, confronted PNB Rock, and demanded his belongings. An argument broke out, and the situation escalated. The gunman shot PNB multiple times before fleeing with his valuables. Despite being rushed to the hospital, PNB Rock died en route. What made the tragedy even more chilling was that just days before his death, PNB Rock had spoken openly about feeling like a target. In an interview with DJ Academics, he recounted a recent experience in Los Angeles where he and his family were followed. He described LA's brazen criminals, noting that robberies targeting rappers had become so commonplace that he avoided nightclubs and high-profile hangouts. Despite taking precautions, PNB ultimately fell victim to the kind of violence he had worked so hard to evade, leaving behind a devastated fan base and an industry mourning one of its rising stars.